Good morning, everyone. Let's bow our heads for a word of prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day in Union County. We ask you to watch over this board and give us the wisdom, strength to make the best decisions we can. We ask you to bless all of our first responders and get them home safely. We ask these things in Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Stephanie, would you do the roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Harville, Commissioner Pitts,
Here.
Commissioner Miller,
Here.
Commissioner Bierstadt, Commissioner Gould.
Having a quorum, I'll call a meeting to order. First item, approval of minutes or regular meeting held May the 9th. Everybody had a chance to look at those. Any additions or deletions?
That we accept them. I'll second that.
Commissioner Harville, Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Bierstadt, Commissioner Gould.
Public comments? No? No. Jeff? No? Okay, we'll move on. Committee reports.
Well, animal control, we're moving right along. Our numbers are about the same, you know, they come and go. Sometimes we have a whole lot, sometimes we have a few. But, they're doing good out there. Staff's doing real well. Still need donations from the public, you know, for kibbles and bits and monetary. But other than that, that's all I got to say about that.
Reminder, we do have the open house the 21st of June from 12 to 3, so you're gonna publicize that, right, Jeff? Headlines?
Front page.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Building permits, I don't think we have any. Old business, ordinance amending Article 1, Chapter 18 of the Union County Code of Ordinances regarding food and sanitation. We're gonna leave that tabled at this moment. Move on to new business, approve payment of bills. Any questions on the bill list?
No, I moved to, pay our bills.
You'll see on the bill list that you finally have all your highway trucks.
Yeah.
So you're paying for the last ones.
I'll second.
Commissioner Harville, Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Bierstadt, Commissioner Gould.
Yes.
Speaking of that, highway trucks, in case anybody hasn't seen them, we've got 6 new trucks, which that's the first in 40 years that we've had a new truck. So I think everybody down there is pretty happy, pretty excited about it, that they look good, so. Next item, intergovernmental agreement by and among the County of Union, the City of Anna, the City of Jonesboro, the Village of Alto Pass, the Village of Codman, the Village of Mill Creek, and the Village of Dongola relating to the funding of Union County Animal Control Program. This is basically the same as we've done in the past with all of them. They've all agreed, right?
Yes. So I send these out to them actually when I'm doing the budget. And then they all sign it, and I actually should have put this on earlier. So this is just you guys approving it also.
How long is it?
It's 1 year. It goes from December 1st of 24 to November 30th of 25. So it goes through our fiscal year, and all of them have signed it.
Questions? I make a motion, we approve the intergovernmental agreement between, I'm not gonna read them all again relating to funding of Union County Animal Control.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Harville, Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Bierstadt, Commissioner Gould.
Yes.
Item C, intergovernmental agreement by and between the County of Union, Illinois, Village of Alto Pass, Village of Cobden, Village of Dongola regarding the hotel operators occupancy tax.
So if you remember last year, we did this, and we did the same agreement, but we also, Anna was also included in it. They've dropped out of it this year. But basically what this is that these municipalities are just saying they're not gonna charge the tax, we're charging the tax, because we both can't charge it. So I will tell you though, I do not have it back from Alto Pass yet. They said that they're going to send it back, but I don't have it back.
I'm sure they will. And Anna has decided to do their own, so
Yes.
I think we lost maybe three
Yeah, there were, I think
locations.
something like that. There were very few locations in Anna.
And there's more being added every day out in the county, so I don't think it'll be a tremendous difference. Any questions? I'll make a motion, we approve the intergovernmental agreement between the County of Union, Illinois, Village of Alto Pass, Village of Cobden, Village of Dongola regarding the hotel operators tax. Second.
Commissioner Harville, Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Bierstadt, Commissioner Gould.
Yes.
All right, item D, the good one, acceptance of FY 24 Union County audit. You're up.
All right.
Do you want the podium? I can pull it over there.
I'm fine. Thanks for having us again this year. Appreciate the opportunity, and I'd like to thank Angie, Carrie, and all the staff that helped during the audit process. Appreciate everyone's assistance. So today we have, I put together kind of a summary of all the reports that we have. It's that front page that I gave to you. And I brought some draft reports with me. There's still a couple of items to button up, to finalize, but we don't expect any changes to these drafts. So we wanted to bring those to you and present those. So I'll kind of quickly go through these at a very high level, and then if you have any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer those. So the reports that we're going to be issuing this year, there are 6 different reports that we issue. The first one being the annual financial report, and that's the large document that you have there in front of you. This includes an independent auditor's report as unmodified opinion, which means that based on our audit procedures, we believe that the items included in the information included in that report is fairly presented. It also includes a report on internal control over financial reporting on compliance and other matters. This is in accordance with government auditing standards, which are required to have that report because of a couple of reasons. One, you have more than $750,000 of federal expenditures. So we had to do a single audit. There was a variation of that that I'll discuss here in a second. But because you had more than $750,000, we had to test the federal major programs, and we had to do the audit in accordance with government auditing standards. And in addition to that, the Government Accountability and Transparency Act, since you had more expenditures than $500,000 between federal and state, the government auditing standards opinion was included. That disclosed no instances of non-compliance, and so both of those reports are included in that large document that I presented to you. Just in terms of your overall financial performance, you had a positive increase in your net position from last year to this year. So essentially, the result was net income for the county, I guess. So your position improved, your financial position improved over last year. The second document that you have there is the auditor's communication to the county board of management. This is some required communication. We have a cover letter in there. We have some required disclosures about things we considered, estimates we considered, new changes to pronouncements. Also included in there is adjusting journal entries, and also a list of items that we did not make entries for because they fell below the materiality threshold for financial reporting. So it also includes a management letter. It includes some advisory comments in that letter. I think last year we had this information on here is actually not accurate that I put on this letter. I think last year there were 9 comments. One of those comments was resolved, wasn't repeated. Another of the comments had a slight variation about approval of payroll. It was documentation of approval of a payroll, but the other comments were just repeats from last year. Most of them were policy-related issues. I think fund balance policy was one of those. There were a couple of items about hotel motel taxes. So a lot of those things are repeats from the last year, things that you're still working on. Policies and procedures manual, some IT technology-related policy things. So things to consider for sure. Things that did not rise to the level of what we consider a material weakness or significant deficiency in internal controls. We didn't note any of those items. So these are more advisory than nature, recommendations to consider for the future. The third document that we have in the next stack is the compliance and audit report for the circuit clerk's office, which is a required audit that we have to do. Included in that document is several different reports, 3 different reports there: a report on compliance, a report on the schedule of accountabilities, which is also included in that report, and then also a report on the supplementary information that's included in there. There's also, in addition to the schedule of accountabilities and the notes, there's a report J that's included in there. All of those are required by the Office of Administrative Courts and the testing that we perform. Again, we didn't identify any instances of non-compliance or anything related to the circuit clerk's audit. The fourth item there is just a couple page letter, and this is the what they call the alternative compliance examination. And essentially, this is the single audit for federal expenditures. If you have more than $750,000, you're required to have a single audit of those federal expenditures and test for compliance. Because the amount that exceeded $750,000 related to your American Rescue Plan, your ARPA money, they allow for this alternative reporting for a compliance examination. So you don't see a full single audit report in there. It's just a letter indicating our opinion with respect to the compliance associated with it. It's still compliance testing for federal expenditure purposes, but that letter is included in there. There's also a schedule of finding and question costs, but we didn't have any, so it's included in there as well. And then the last 2 items, which are not in your stack, are the consolidated year-end financial report for GATA purposes. So the Government Accountability and Transparency Act requires that that you guys include information on the GATA portal, and then we have to review that information to make sure it agrees with the audit report that we have in front of you, and we have to issue an in relation to opinion on that. That's still in progress, the completion of the GATA portal, and so we will do that as soon as that's all up and ready to go. And then the last item is the required submission to the Comptroller's Office for your annual financial report. This is an electronic submission that we do for the county. A draft of that has been provided, or will be, I think, today, if it hasn't been. And as long as you approve of that, as Angie approves that, then we'll get that submitted for you electronically to the Comptroller's Office.
Very good.
And we won't have to ask for an extension this year.
Yep.
From the Comptroller's Office, so that's nice.
Very good, very good. It's, you know, I really take pride with this board and all the elected officials and managers and everybody involved, because this, in layman's terms, this is the 3rd year in a row that we've not had any findings. And that's just amazing. Plus, we're financially sound, which is different too. But I'm most proud of the no findings. That's, I think, we've got our next county official here. That just doesn't happen very many places, I don't think.
That's
And,
true.
it's, something I think Union County can be proud of.
That's definitely, you know, in the banking world, it doesn't happen in the banking world.
So it's,
A lot of hard work.
it's a testament to everybody here that participates, and, really, really proud of that. So,
Outstanding staff.
it's very, very good. Anybody got any questions for? Okay. Hope to see you next year. Same good news.
Save $100 and send us an electric file instead of all the
We
We
can.
will send you electronic copies for sure. Yeah.
Well, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Appreciate it very much.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Again, I want to say thanks to everybody, and
Good job.
Angie, you, a big thanks.
It's a lot of work.
Wheel that makes this turn, so we appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we approve, the, FY 24 Union County audit as presented. Draft copy, yeah. I'll second that.
Commissioner Harville, Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Bierstadt, Commissioner Gould.
And on the same, since it was included in that, also I'll make a motion that we approve the FY 24 Union County Circuit Clerk audit. I'll second that.
Commissioner Harville, Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Bierstadt, Commissioner Gould.
Okay, item F, ordinance governing commercial solar energy facility siting. Okay. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to really look at all that. I've read most of it, many pages. We're putting this in place, kind of as a review here. We're starting to get people interested in doing a lot more solar, possibly solar farms and so forth. And we've been working on this for several weeks now. Tyler has done a lot of research, Angie, and with different counties around and so forth. And like it or not, it's going to be a coming big thing. So if you want to, I certainly can't explain everything I read. That's why you get paid for what you do.
Well, I don't think everyone wants to hear me try to explain all 15 pages. of the
No,
ordinance,
I
but,
don't want to hear that.
I'll try to give a broad overview of some of the things that we're trying to.
Basically, we're wanting to do this to be fair to the little guy that puts in a little bit of solar, and then, but also be protected from the big guy to where we get proper financial return on that and so forth too.
So, that's correct, Max. When we talk about the little guy, so what I think most important for people to realize is this is not something that the average homeowner should be concerned about. This doesn't apply to someone who's going to solar panels on their roof or in their backyard to power their home or personal use. This is a commercial solar project ordinance, and we have to think about these things based off of some of the stuff that we discussed in our last meeting, these huge farms that we've seen going up in different places. I know there's a big development, I think, down around Karnak area right now that's going in, a huge one down there. And then some of our neighboring states we discussed also have I think it was a couple hundred couple $100 million, Andy, on that project out there in Missouri that's going on.
It's a big.
There's no indication of anything of that magnitude or size going on in Union County right now. But I wanted to, in considering how to structure this ordinance, account for those kinds of things and ensure that we were looking at the big picture and the small picture at the same time. So we tailored this ordinance, like I said, it's 15 pages long. There's a lot of information in there. There's a lot of different provisions in there, but it should cover us for a solar farm that would be an acre in size up to one that is 10 acres in size, depending on or bigger even, if we got to that point. So just some of the general provisions in here that I think are important and people probably would be most interested in are some of the regulations for the siting of solar farms, how they would be regulated as far as design and those kinds of things. So first off, there's also obviously an application fee and permitting process for this, the money part, right? That's what a lot of people ask about. So our ordinance as proposed would have a $1,500 application fee. That's $1,500 per megawatt, okay? And I think when Angie and I looked it up, I think it was an acre would not even produce a megawatt, I don't think. So depending on the size, that's going to adjust what your fee structure would be. That goes up to a maximum of $200,000. That's for the permitting fee itself, okay? There's also a building permit fee. That's $5,000 per megawatt as well. Obviously, if someone doesn't have a megawatt size farm, then it's going to be prorated backwards down based off of the proportionate size of the farm, what it can produce, okay? So that's your permitting structure. It's in there. I think we're in line with our neighboring counties right here next door to us. They're using the same kind of structure, so we're not breaking the ground. They're doing something different. There's provisions in here about design of your solar facility, we'll call it, your solar farm. I think a lot of the times, things that I've heard people have concerns about, well, what's this going to look like? Is it going to be an eyesore? There's provisions in here about fencing of the facility. You have to have a 6-foot fence enclosure around the facility. Obviously, that's where you're going to want to guard against. We have a lot of deer. We don't want animals or trespassers getting into those kinds of places. There's also a provision in there that requires a vegetative screening design inside of the fencing area that would be a sort of a plant barrier between if there's neighboring household properties there. That way there would be some sort of vegetative screen to help the aesthetics of the thing where people wouldn't be looking straight at solar panels. There's provisions in there about that. As far as the construction and design, there's a lot of technical language in there, regulations that comply with ANSI standards, statutory standards, coding, and the like. There's also provisions in here about insurance requirements and maintenance for some of the companies that are doing this kind of work. Also importantly, there's a decommissioning and deconstruction provision here where if and when a solar farm becomes obsolete or not used anymore, there's requirements in here for them to decommission, deconstruct, and remove that equipment so it's not sitting there deteriorating out in the open wherever it's at. Felt that was pretty important that we had that in there too. There's also, I believe it's even listed on the minutes, a road use agreement. That's something that I've worked with Amy on. She would be your expert on that, but I've tried to understand it as best I could. Essentially, your road use agreement involves the companies that would be, if they are going to be designing and building a solar farm, they have to engage in a road use agreement with the county. They have to do a traffic study of sorts or a plan of how they will transport their materials, what kind of vehicles will be taking what kind of routes to get to where their solar farm site is, to ensure that they're not exceeding the capacities of our bridges, our roads, and whatnot. There's also going to be provisions in here about your roads in and out for egress to the solar farm. A lot of times these farms are put in places where they might be needing to use whether it be a county road or an easement to get to that farm. There's going to be requirements for the road to hold up to certain weight limits, certain widths, and equipment, limitations. So if there are issues, this road agreement requires them to do that study to ensure that the road is capable of handling the material and the normal traffic to and from the solar farm. If it does not, it is the company or the person who's putting this farm in, it's their obligation to improve those roads to make them to where they can handle this equipment and to where it wouldn't exceed the limitations of the road that it sets. There's also agricultural impact agreement that would be mandatory by statute in Illinois. It's under section 147 of I think it's in the environmental code. This deals with certain impacts on agriculture in and around the solar farm. It involves runoff, erosion protections, and those kinds of things. These huge farms, if anyone understands how runoff and if you know how that works, is kind of compare it to if someone was to put something covered in concrete, you're going to completely alter how the runoff works. Okay, so we don't want someone building a 5-acre farm and then pitching all the water off onto the neighbor's property and flooding their basement, right? So there's requirements for agricultural. There's an ag impact agreement that has a lot to do with that. There's several other things in this ordinance. I think it will probably develop if and when these projects take off in Union County. There's always going to be things that come up that you can't always account for. But I think that given how detailed and how lengthy this ordinance is, we've done a pretty good job of trying to think forward and account for everything that we know of right now. I think it will cover projects that might be proposed to us in the near future for the time being. And if something does come up, if there are changes to consider, obviously we can always amend what we have. But a lot of people took a team of people's minds working together to try to get all of this sorted out between myself and Andy and Amy and even others. So I think this is a good starting point for us. I did an interesting note just recently. These are news headlines, so take them for what they're worth. But I saw where certain Chinese manufactured solar equipment has been found to have remote kill switch devices inside of them that can be activated remotely. I haven't dug into that on a deep dive, but I saw a headline about that. That might be something we need to account for once that more information comes out about that. Right now, I have no idea what kind of equipment anyone would be proposing to use when they do the farm. But this is a tech area that develops quick, it advances quickly, and there'll be changes going forward, with how the equipment works, the output of the equipment, the size of the equipment, and all of those things are expected with something like this. And we can adjust our ordinance and amend if needed going forward. But I think what you have right now proposed will definitely suffice to have something in place for those who are looking to do a solar project in the near future.
I'm assuming that as far as monitoring something like this or policing it, that's going to fall under basically Amy, the assessor's office, just like they monitor, assess property around and
Yes.
keep watch over what's going on. If the assessor's office sees somebody put a solar farm in and they've not contacted us on this, I mean, basically the same way as a building permit.
Correct.
lot of farms, the big farms, they run sheep on hill underneath them solar panels, you know, they fence them in, they still pasture sheep.
Do they?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's a big thing, in order to get you twice the pay for the ground, you know, and actually, it makes sense.
Not having to do lawn or yard maintenance, grass maintenance, that would be.
Cuts it down. Yeah,
You said there was provisions in the event that somebody tried to walk away, and, you know, we require them to decommission it. What about the person that ultimately has a hailstorm and destroys and goes bankrupt and then walks away?
Well, there's mandatory insurance provisions in there also. Yeah.
In the county's name, there's an additional insurer.
No, they're required to carry that insurance themselves for liability, personal, their personal liability on property.
it'd just be on farm insurance, basically.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
you know, in the event that they did ultimately collect the insurance and then walked away, is there any way that we could ultimately get it?
I think we have a civil remedy available
Yeah,
through suit.
if we can find it. Have we ever discussed, or with Max and even Andy, about wind farms?
That's the next one on the agenda. We're working on that right
Because
now.
wind farms, in my opinion, are just as ugly, and there's no way to hide it.
No, you can't hide those. And there are I'll say there are height restrictions in this ordinance for how high your panels can be, visibility, to try to cut down on some of the visibility. But yes, wind I just marked solar off my list, and wind's the new one that I'm working on right now.
I mean, frankly, flying as much as I've flown back and forth to Chicago, there are a bunch of wind farms in this state that you can't see from the ground because you're not driving out in that part of the country. But boy, from an airplane, they're all over the place, and big farms.
Takes a lot of usable farm ground out of production,
Yeah.
I mean, it really does.
That's unfortunately, it's not particularly profitable to be a farmer today.
I mean, Farm Bureau's got a problem with a lot of that,
Dave, I'll have to check with I could probably send an email to an insurance company, but like, I don't know if it's the exact same as it would be for a house with insurance, but now a good thing that the state of Illinois started is with houses, if, before they pay the homeowner for, their insurance proceeds, the county has to sign off, the treasurer's office has to sign off that they owe no back taxes, because if they do, they'll take the insurance and pay that. And then, we have to sign off that they've actually cleaned up the mess. So the highway department, I usually ask one of them to drive out there and look, and if it's not cleaned up, we have them withhold money until it's cleaned up. So I'll find out if we can do the same thing
I really
for,
worry about that, because I mean, again,
yeah,
who knows what Facebook, but there was a post on Facebook about a solar panel that, solar farm that got hit by hail and destroyed it. All the chemicals leaked into the ground and everything else, and then the people went bankrupt and walked away. And so, I don't know what happened to the insurance money, but, we need to make sure we're protected.
yeah, I'll ask
So
that.
they can't walk away.
I would think that it would still apply. I mean, if they're doing it for houses and allowing us to hold back money, but I'll check that.
Not changing the subject, but does that apply to tax sale houses like we've been looking at for cleanup?
Yeah, I mean, if the people have insurance, yeah, I mean, they'd have to have an insurance claim. So it's like when the homeowner has an insurance claim, like they have a fire or something like that, then we can withhold, we don't. We have the insurance company withhold the money until it's cleaned up. But for those, I mean, unless there's a claim against their insurance.
Is that just county-wide, or is that city and county? Or-
That requires that? It's everywhere.
Okay.
But if it's a city property, we send them to the city for the,
We used to hold the money back ourselves, because I mean, there's a bunch of properties that burn in Anna that need to be torn down.
Okay, any other questions?
Well, again, I've read most of this the past few days, but,
I think you explained it a little better that I can understand than what I read. I kind of thought all that was in there, but anyway. I don't have a problem with it. I think we need to get it in place since we are getting inquiries. I'm not sure that there may be a project already started in the county.
There was one, but I had one.
Yeah, so, I make a motion that we approve the ordinance governing commercial solar energy facility siting as presented.
I'll second that.
Including the road use agreement.
Well, that's separate, we're gonna do that, yeah.
Commissioner Harville, Commissioner Pitts.
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes,
Commissioner Bierstadt, Commissioner Gould.
Yes.
okay. And then pertaining to that, road use approval of road use agreement. I'm not, everybody's got this in front of them, the road use agreement is made and entered into by and among Union County, Illinois Road Authority and developer, and the road authority are sometimes referred to herein individually as a party and collectively as parties. This term developer represents shall include developers, contractors, subcontractors, employees, agents, material suppliers, vendors, transport providers, representatives, and designees. Again, this refers to what Tyler was speaking of, where he's met with Amy on this. I make a motion that we approve the road use agreement.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Harville, Commissioner Pitts.
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Bierstadt, Commissioner Gould.
Yes.
Okay. Good job. I know it's been a lot of work, everything you got going on, throwing this in there right now, but appreciate it very much. We don't have anything for executive.
Do you want to discuss the highway? You don't have the full board here to discuss it, so it's up to you.
I mean, what do you think?
I don't know. Depends if you want to discuss it with just the three of you or if you think you need the full board.
Well, I mean, probably ought to be discussed.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a quorum. It won't take but a minute, so. Okay.
So the employees.
Yeah, need to go into executive session momentarily to discuss employees. I make a motion that we do that.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Harville, Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Bierstadt, Commissioner Gould.
All right, we'll take a quick break and go into executive session here momentarily.